The derelict drifted against the black backdrop of space like a corpse refusing burial. Commander Alyssa Tran adjusted her mag boots on the hull of the ESV Callisto, her breath misting inside the helmet. Before her, the alien vessel loomed, jagged, asymmetrical, and unlike any known design catalogued by Earth's Astra database. The first contact protocols echoed in her mind. Observe. Do not engage. Secure evidence. Retreat if uncertain. Too bad the protocols never encountered this. Lieutenant Chen, you getting this? Alyssa asked over comms. Visual feed stable. Confirming atmospheric readings. Barely breathable, gravities at 0.4 g. It's a wonder this thing's still holding together. Holding together is generous, a second voice chimed in. Lieutenant Jorge Ramirez, the ship's engineer, known affectionately as Sparks. Looks like someone rammed a saw blade through a cathedral and called it a spaceship. Alyssa allowed herself the faintest grin. Bridge, we're going in. The Callisto's docking arms locked onto the alien airlock with a mechanical groan. With a hiss and a shudder, the outer seal disengaged, revealing a dark corridor lined with shifting green-blue lights and humming walls. Sparks stepped in beside her, scanner in one hand, a custom-built stun rifle in the other. Alyssa followed. The corridor curved unnaturally, like the entire architecture was designed to disorient. Symbols pulsed faintly on the walls, geometric, almost insectal. And something deeper, an oppressive silence. Then a faint metallic clatter. Alyssa raised her weapon. Contact! A form emerged from the shadows at the far end of the hall. Humanoid, tall, almost 7 feet, but unmistakably alien. Gray-scaled skin, 4 arms, each adorned in tattered armor. It staggered, then dropped to its knees. Then, in broken but precise English, it spoke. We don't kill humans. The phrase hit like a gunshot in vacuum. Alyssa blinked. What did you say? The alien lowered its head, arms raised in submission. We do not kill humans. I surrender. Sparks coughed in disbelief. Commander. I think we just won a war we didn't know we were fighting. Alyssa didn't lower her rifle. You know us. Yes, you are. Earthborn. Human. The alien's voice trembled, less in fear, more in reverence. Your kind is marked. Forbidden. The alien collapsed forward, unconscious. Back on the Callisto, the infirmary hummed softly as medical bots tended to the injured alien. Alyssa stood nearby, arms crossed, watching its vitals stabilize. Dr. Renu Patel, ship's medic, glanced up from her console. Name appears to be Valen. Species. Viscary if I'm not mistaken. Tough biology. Bleeding out 1 minute, stabilizing the next. And you're sure he's not bait? I'm a doctor, not a trap sniffer. But from the scans, he was starving, wounded, alone. Sparks leaned against the wall, arms crossed. What gets me is the phrase. We don't kill humans. Like it's some kind of rule. Alyssa nodded slowly. We've never encountered the Viscary before. Not even second-hand mentions. No transmissions, no sightings. But he knew what we were. And he surrendered the second he saw us. That's not fear, Sparks said. That's doctrine. Alyssa looked down at the unconscious alien. Wake him. I want answers. Valen awoke with a start, flinching as the med drone approached. His gaze snapped to Alyssa. For a second his body tensed, then he relaxed, head bowing. You healed me, he said. Why? Alyssa remained standing. Because it's what we do. Call it a flaw in our programming. You could have let me die. Claimed the ship as salvage. Others would. We're not others. Valen was silent a moment, then nodded. That is why you are feared. Sparks made a confused face behind Alyssa. She sat across from the alien. You said, we don't kill humans. What does that mean? The Viscari's eyes narrowed slightly. Decades ago, our scouts found a colony world. Pristine, strategic. We deployed forces. It was Unassuming. You were not even a spacefaring power then. Only a few had weapons. We thought you would break. His fingers curled slightly. You didn't. He looked up, locking eyes with Alyssa. You fought like wildfire. No formation. No predictability. Just resolve. Ambushes. Tricks. Sacrifices. Even children fought us. He exhaled. We lost thousands. And afterward? Alyssa asked. Valen's voice dropped. You didn't kill us. You tended to our wounded. Let us leave. Spoke of peace. Silence hung in the air like smoke. The High War Council declared contact with your kind forbidden. No attacks. No surveillance. No engagement. You are chaos made flesh. And kindness. We do not understand it. So we do not interfere. Alyssa leaned back. The implications were staggering. We've been out here making friends, building alliances, thinking we're newcomers, she said softly. But they already knew us. Valen nodded. Others watched. And they feared. Because they do not understand why you choose not to conquer. Sparks scratched his chin. Okay, I'll bite. If they're so scared of us, why was your ship broadcasting a signal on an open loop? That's how we found you. Valen's expression twisted. That signal was not mine. I found the vessel adrift and boarded it seeking shelter. But it was not empty. He looked toward the floor. It was watching, listening. I barely escaped. A chill passed through the room. Alyssa rose. What was it? I do not know. But it is not Viscary. And it is old. Sparks exchanged a glance with Alyssa. I think we just poked something better left sleeping. Alyssa turned on her heel. Sparks, prep a full scan of that ship. If something's hiding there, I want to know before it wakes up. Copy that. He paused at the door. And Sparks. Yeah. Patch in orbital defense systems. Just in case we need to remind someone why we don't kill humans. End of chapter 1. Word count. 190 words. Tone, tension, mystery, first contact, awe. HFY themes introduced. Humanity's unpredictable warfare and emotional depth. Our capacity for mercy mistaken as danger. Fear-driven respect from alien cultures. Early hints of humanity's unknowable potential. The Callisto hung in orbit like a sentinel over the derelict, its weapons hot but silent. Inside the ship, the crew was buzzing with tension. No one said it aloud, but the message from the Viscary fleet still echoed in every mind. Return our warrior or be treated as hostile. Commander Alyssa Tran stood at the central holotable, arms folded, eyes locked on the tactical display. 5 Viscary warships had appeared on long-range scans, sleek, angular vessels shaped like swooping talons. They hadn't moved closer yet. They didn't have to. The implication was clear. Sparks leaned on the opposite side of the table, chewing his lip. I'm just saying 5-to-1 odds aren't bad if you're them. If we're us, we're the squishy bits in the soup. I'm not handing him over, Alyssa said. No argument here. But they're not bluffing, are they? No, Alyssa admitted. Which means we need to understand what the hell we're dealing with before this turns into a shootout. Valen sat in the observation lounge, staring out the reinforced glass at the stars. The Viscary looked smaller now. Not physically but spiritually. Alyssa noticed the way he sat, like a warrior stripped of command, wrapped in doubt. You don't have to fear them, she said as she entered. Valen didn't turn. I don't fear them. I fear what they will force me to do. Alyssa sat across from him. Start from the beginning. That colony, the one your people attacked. What happened? He exhaled slowly. Your kind were new to the stars. One of our patrols discovered your colony. It was remote, ill-defended. The High War Council saw it as a test, conquest without consequence. And we underestimated you. Your people fought not like soldiers, but like beasts of legend. You made no formation. You ignored tactics we understood. You attacked at night. You used traps, lures, psychological warfare. You turned your environment into a weapon. His gaze was distant now, haunted. I was there. I led a fire team into a thicket, expecting a communications relay. Instead, we found sharpened sticks dipped in corrosive resin. I watched my second lose both arms and keep fighting. I heard laughter through the trees. Not joy, madness. He swallowed hard. And then you did something no species in the galaxy ever has. When we surrendered, you spared us. No demands. No humiliation. You fed us. You patched us up. And you told us to go home. Alyssa leaned back. We're not monsters, Valen. He finally looked at her. Exactly. But you could be. And that frightens the galaxy more than any weapon ever forged. On the bridge, Sparks was busy running diagnostics on the derelict signal. His fingers danced over the console, eyes flicking between spectrographs and neural pattern scans. Chen, take a look at this. Lieutenant Chen, tactical officer, leaned in. That's not a distress beacon. It's a summoning frequency. Sparks nodded grimly. Yeah. And it's not just shouting into local space. It's pinging frequencies older than anything I've ever seen. I think it's calling something. Chen frowned. Something left behind. Or something that left, and might come back. Alyssa joined them minutes later, reviewing the data with a frown. This signal, it's not Viscari, Sparks said. Parts of it overlap with their tech, sure. But there's a deeper layer. Like they repurposed it. Hijacked it. Can you shut it off? I can jam it. But that might be like unplugging an alien landline halfway through a prayer. Alyssa considered. Do it. Quietly. Let's not spook whatever might be listening. Understood. Chen cleared her throat. Commander, we're getting another hail. Visual this time. Put it up. The screen flickered to life. A Viscari commander appeared. Broad, armored, with golden ceremonial markings. His voice was sharp and proud. Human commander. Return Valen immediately, and you will be permitted to leave. Your presence is considered hostile. Alyssa didn't blink. Valen is under my protection. He boarded our ship requesting asylum. Asylum. There is no such concept in the Viscari fleet. He is a soldier. He belongs to us. Then maybe your people need to learn a few new concepts. The Viscari commander stiffened. If you deny our request, it will be seen as an act of aggression. Alyssa smiled coldly. And if you attack us, it will be seen as proof of everything Valen told us about your fear. Silence. You are alone. You cannot survive a direct confrontation. No, Alyssa said, calm and quiet. But we're human. We tend not to fight fair. Later, Alyssa met Valen in the cargo bay, where the alien was watching as Sparks calibrated the exterior jamming pulses. I cannot ask you to risk your people, Valen said. You didn't ask. I chose. Valen was quiet a moment, then reached into his armor and pulled out a short, curved blade. Sleek, ceremonial, etched with old glyphs. This is my pledge blade. If I give it to you, I forfeit all allegiance to my command. I become a sword in your service. Alyssa hesitated. You sure that's wise? No, Valen said. But I am sure it is right. You spared us once, and we mistook that mercy for weakness. I will not make that mistake again. Alyssa took the blade. The alarm klaxons blared 3 hours later. Commander! Viscari fleet is powering weapons. 2 ships breaking formation. Chen called from the bridge. Brace for impact. No impact, Sparks said, eyes wide. They're not firing at us. They're firing at the derelict. Explosions erupted across the derelict's hull as plasma torpedoes pounded it into pieces. For a moment, it seemed the ship was simply disintegrating. Then everything stopped. The lights flickered. The stars around the Callisto seemed to shimmer unnaturally. And then a deep, impossible voice echoed through every speaker, every system, somehow bypassing encryption, human and Viscari alike. Observation: humanity remains. Advisory: Do not provoke. Directive. Avoid escalation. Archive access. Authorized. Sparks stared in horror. That was the derelict. Or what was inside it? Valen stepped forward. No. That was older. Alyssa looked up. And it knew us. It recognized us. End of chapter 2. Word count. 200 words. Tone. Heightened tension, world-expanding mystery. HFY themes explored. Human mercy mistaken for strategic terror. Cultural clash. Honor versus ethics, conquest versus choice. Humanity's unpredictability and refusal to play by the rules. Hints of ancient powers aware of and afraid of humans. The Callisto was silent. Not dead, just stunned. The strange voice from the wreck had hijacked every frequency, every sensor, every channel. It had spoken in perfect Earth Standard English, Viscary clicks, even binary tones, simultaneously. There was no encryption it didn't crack, no system it didn't access. And then it vanished. Commander Alyssa Tran stood on the bridge, face lit by the cold blue of the main display. Any idea what the hell that was? She asked. Sparks shook his head slowly. I ran voice pattern analysis through every archive we've got. Nothing matches. Hell, that tone. It wasn't generated. It was observed. Chen swiveled in her chair. Commander, incoming hail from the lead Viscary warship. Again. Alyssa nodded. Let's hear it. The screen lit up. This time the Viscary commander looked rattled. His posture was stiff, but his eyes betrayed uncertainty. Human vessel. You did not cause the signal. Alyssa folded her arms. No. We just stopped it. It addressed you. It addressed all of us. But yeah, it knew us. This confirms an old fear. The Viscari's voice dropped lower. The derelict is a watcher construct. Precursor technology. We believed they were extinct. Clearly we were wrong. Alyssa's brow furrowed. Watcher. Valen, standing nearby, answered before the commander could. They are the oldest name. The first galactic species. Maybe the first intelligence. Billions of years ago. They catalogued life. Experimented with it. We only know them from ruins. Dead machinery. Archive whispers. Their constructs are not supposed to be active. The Viscary commander continued. Your interference woke it. Or delayed it. Either way, you altered its cycle. And now it remembers humanity. Alyssa stepped forward. Why does that scare you? Because you are the anomaly. The unpredictable variable in the galactic equation. And the Watchers. They feared anomalies. The feed cut. The crew gathered in the briefing room. Tension heavy in the recycled air. Sparks brought up the scans from the derelict just before it disintegrated. Okay, look at this. These aren't random explosions. They were controlled detonations. The ship wasn't destroyed. It shed its outer shell. Whatever was inside left. Where is it now? Alyssa asked. Chin looked grim. Unknown. It vanished from sensors instantly. Either cloaked or phased out. Valen leaned forward. There are stories. Half-remembered legends passed between species in war camps and prison barges. About them. The ones who made everything then vanished. Some say they seeded the first mines. Others say they tested them. And a few believe they're still watching, waiting for the next threat. Us, Alyssa said. Valen nodded. You're the first species to break their metrics. No centralized leadership but bound by shared ideals. You defy extinction models. You don't collapse under chaos. You thrive in it. Sparks muttered. That doesn't sound like a threat. Sounds like evolution. To the Watchers, Valen said. Evolution is the threat. An hour later, a silent alert flashed across the bridge. Distortion detected, close proximity. Talk to me, Alyssa snapped as she entered. Chin pointed at the sensor feed. Localized gravitic lensing. Same pattern as the derelict's core. Whatever left it, is here. Where? Right behind us. On the main screen, space shimmered, and then tore open like a paper wound. From it emerged a sphere. Not a ship, not in any traditional sense. A dark, pulsing orb about the size of a shuttle, covered in shifting hexagonal plates. It moved without thrust, gliding on impossible angles. A single voice echoed in the ship again. Final evaluation. Humanity has survived its testing phase. Directive shift. Containment no longer viable. Observation protocols upgraded. What the hell does that mean? Sparks asked, his voice tight. The orb drifted closer to the Callisto, then stopped. Its surface peeled back, revealing a hollow core. Inside, nothing but an intense white light, and a single object suspended in it. Data crystal. Human standard. The object teleported, instantaneously, into the Callisto's cargo bay. "Security team with me," Alyssa barked. In the bay, the crystal hovered mid-air, humming softly. Dr. Patel scanned it. "Commander, I think this thing is reading us. All of us. Brainwave patterns. Muscle responses. It's analyzing." Then suddenly, the crystal flared and projected a hologram. An archive video. Scene from Earth. Old Earth. Before first contact. Grainy footage of a hospital in a war zone. A young nurse, bloodied, shielding a child during a bombing. The nurse covered the child's body with her own. A second later, a blast hit, and she didn't move. She survived. Barely. The crystal projected text in perfect English. Observation number 1. Species prioritizes preservation of non-combatants at risk of self-extinction. Then another scene. A soldier helping an injured alien, Viscari, even, across a battlefield, ignoring orders to stand down. More text. Observation number 2. Enemy status can be overridden by empathy. Probability model invalidated. Alyssa stepped forward. "These are records of us. Of our worst moments, and how we handled them." The crystal pulsed again, and now showed a montage. Protests, wars, sacrifices, innovation, endurance in space. And one final phrase. Conclusion. Humanity equals variable class. Divergent. High resilience. High empathy. High aggression. Extreme adaptability. Classification. Apex anomaly. Recommendation. No engagement. No suppression. No extinction protocols. Oz. Advisory issued to all observation networks. Humanity is no longer a species. It is a force. The hologram cut. Silence. Even Sparks was speechless. Back in the briefing room, the atmosphere had shifted. "It's not just us watching the galaxy," Alyssa said. "The galaxy's been watching us." Valen spoke carefully. "The Watchers tried to classify everything. Everything that could be contained, labeled, predicted. But you refused categorization. You helped enemies. You spared when others would slaughter. You fight, yes, but you also build." Sparks finally broke the silence. "So, we passed. Some kind of galactic final exam." Chen shook her head. "No. We broke the grading system." Alyssa turned to the group. "We've been so busy thinking we were the small fish in a big pond. But the big fish left. And now the pond's watching us grow teeth." She looked at the data crystal in her hand. "I think it's time we stop being afraid of what's out there. I think it's time they start thinking twice about what's down here." End of chapter 3. Word count. 1-200. Tone. Awe, revelation, escalating tension and purpose. HFY themes explored. Humanity as an unpredictable moral force. Alien fear of what they cannot control. The power of empathy and sacrifice as strategic anomalies. Precursor races recognizing human divergence from galactic norms. The calm before the storm lasted less than a standard hour. The Callisto's crew had spent it poring over the crystal's data and trying to absorb the revelation. Humanity wasn't just another species. They were an apex anomaly, a wild card in a galaxy where predictability was the currency of survival. Then the Viscari fleet, silent until now, began to move. The ultimatum. The communications console beeped sharply. Chen tapped the console and brought up the Viscari commander's visage once more, this time framed by the sinister shadow of warships aligning into attack formation. Human Commander Alyssa Tran. This is your final warning. Release Valen and surrender the archive crystal, or we will initiate full-scale engagement. Alyssa's jaw clenched. We don't negotiate with those who've already declared war. Sparks muttered. They don't know what they're asking for. Then it's time we show them. Preparing the battlefield. The crew scrambled. The Callisto was no battleship, but it was outfitted with experimental tech and, more importantly, human creativity. Sparks and Chen rigged the ship's external defense grid to mimic a distorted magnetic field, something alien sensors interpreted as an unstable star, a naturally hazardous zone. They hoped it would buy time or at least slow down the Viscari's assault. Meanwhile, Dr. Patel collaborated with Valen on defensive biotech, nanobots programmed to disrupt Viscari electronics but harmless to humans. This was a gamble, weaponizing alien tech against the aliens themselves, but it was their best shot. Alyssa moved among her crew, offering terse orders and quiet encouragement. We're outgunned, outnumbered. But we're not outsmarted. Remember why we fight. Not for territory, not for pride, but because we don't kill humans. And that means something. The first salvo. The Viscari fleet descended, weapons blazing. Plasma lances cut through the void, illuminating the darkness like streaks of green lightning. The Callisto shook violently, shield generators humming at maximum. But Spark's magnetic distortion field confused the Viscari targeting systems. Several plasma bolts veered off course, crashing harmlessly into asteroid debris. Valen, fighting alongside the human marines, shouted over the din. They expect us to submit. They don't understand that mercy is a weapon we wield as sharply as any blade. Alyssa activated the experimental nanobot cloud, releasing it into the vacuum where the enemy ships clustered. Suddenly, several Viscari warships suffered critical system failures. Engines sputtered, weapons went offline. Looks like your biotech gambit worked, Chen said in disbelief. Valen smiled grimly. Humans are unpredictable. We both underestimated them. The turning point. The battle raged, a swirling ballet of fire and steel. But then a massive explosion rocked the Callisto. One of the Viscari torpedoes breached the outer hull near the engineering deck. Alyssa heard the alarm blare. Damage report. Hull breach. Oxygen levels dropping. Sparks shouted, fingers flying over controls. We need to seal that. Chen, redirect power to environmental systems and shields and engineering. Patel, prepare the medbay. Casualties incoming. As the crew worked frantically, Alyssa grabbed her comlink. Marines, hold the line at all costs. Protect the crystal. Amidst the chaos, Valen disappeared into the smoke and shrapnel, carrying the crystal carefully as if it weighed more than just data, as if it carried the fate of all humanity. The human factor. Just as the Viscari prepared to press the advantage, a sudden burst of static interrupted the battle comms. Alyssa tapped the comm channel. This is Sergeant Ramirez, Callisto Marine Corps. Requesting permission to initiate Operation Unpredictable. Alyssa grinned despite herself. You have permission. Moments later, through the viewport, the crew saw it. A squadron of small, sleek craft launched from a hidden bay in the Callisto's belly. They weren't standard fighters. Each craft was custom-built by the crew, armed with improvised EMP grenades, jamming devices, and something else. Ramirez's voice crackled in her ear. Those are homemade flashbang drones. They disrupt enemy sensors, disorient Viscari pilots. We're the chaos they never saw coming. The drones weaved through the enemy fleet like fireflies in a storm, detonating in blinding bursts that scrambled Viscari targeting arrays and sent their warships into panic maneuvers. The final gambit. The Callisto crew and Valen regrouped in the command center. Alyssa held the crystal in her hands. We've proven the Watchers right, she said quietly. We are a force no one can predict or control. But there's one thing we can do. Make sure the galaxy understands why humanity deserves to survive. Valen nodded. The Viscari can't be reasoned with now. They want submission or extinction. Alyssa looked at her team. We're not just fighting for ourselves anymore. We're fighting for the future of every species who believes in mercy, in strength through compassion. Sparks laughed, a dry, bitter sound. Guess it's time to remind them why they don't kill humans. With a nod from Alyssa, he activated the final device, a quantum entanglement disruptor, engineered to scramble the Viscari fleet's coordination systems. The Viscari ships staggered, their formation breaking apart like glass shattered. Victory and respect. The battle ended not with annihilation but retreat. The Viscari commander's voice came through once more, tired but respectful. You have bested us, humans. Not with brute force but with something alien. You fight with honor and madness intertwined. Alyssa replied steadily. We fight because we don't kill humans. We fight because that means we're more than just survivors. We're the future. Valen stepped forward, blade sheathed. His expression one of newfound respect. The galaxy will remember this day, he said. Not for war, but for what it means to be human. Epilogue, a new dawn. The Callisto limped out of the battle zone, battered but unbroken. In the quiet aftermath, Alyssa stood with her crew on the observation deck, watching the stars stretch ahead, an unknown future waiting. We showed them, she said softly. Humans aren't just animals. We're hope. We're chaos. We're mercy and madness wrapped into one. Barks grinned. Yeah. We're a pain in the ass. Chin laughed. And don't you forget it. Valen looked to the stars, then back at the crew. I will carry your story to my people. They will know what humanity truly is. Alyssa smiled. Then let them know we don't kill humans. 'Cause humans don't just survive. We win. The stars shimmered brighter, as if echoing the truth of that promise. End of story. Would you like me to help you polish and format the full story now? Or would you prefer a summary or analysis of the HFY themes used?